And welcome back to the Talking Archive. My name is Josh Jacobs, and we're concluding our conversation with announcer both on television and radio, Ed Mackay. And Ed, what was the best piece of advice you ever got from a fellow broadcaster?
Oh, gosh. Best piece of advice I got. I was... I went to instant disc jockey school here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the KISS broadcasting workshop, and that was on Sunset Boulevard at the Playboy Building at the time. It was AM 1150. That was before KISS FM. In fact, I was on the air when it became KISS AM and FM. KKDJ.
Oh yeah.
Joined, and Charlie Tuna became the program director.
Wow.
And Charlie was a great guy, too. I worked with Charlie for a while. But I want to say there was an instructor when I was just getting started, Art Hannes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Art Hannes was a very, very old news anchor. And he said, just relax and tell people what you want them to know. It's not that complicated. And, of course, we all walk in going, okay, this is what we want to talk about. These are the things that are good. You know, he said, no, don't do that. Don't be, you know. And this was before WKRP. And of course, you know, I grew up listening to KHJ, and you know, and we all talked like that. We all just, we're the announcers. Here we go. Let's go.
The real live still here on this Fractious Friday.
Yeah.
What do we know? Believe
where the hits just keep on coming. He said, calm down.
Well, it's funny listening to, like Sam Riddle used to have that kind of like, you know, very KHJ rapid mile talk or whatever. But then when you heard him on 1500 KROQ, his voice was suddenly much more mellow, much more slower, and much more real than it had been on KHJ.
Well, that's because it was FM.
That's right, yeah.
FM was laid back. It was, we're playing LPs. We're playing albums of everything, and we're just here. I mean, it's like two steps above NRP. Or NPR.
Yeah, exactly. Jim Ladd, Lord have mercy, 95.5 KLOS. Hi, this is Jim Ladd. Put on your headphones as we do the headsets and the interview, man. And that was Neil Young right there, and here's some Pearl Jam.
Here we go. Here's 3 hours worth of any band you want to hear.
Now, you started actually off on K-Wave 107.9 when it was rock and roll. How much was it freeform by the time you got there?
It wasn't. And most stations are not freeform. Mm-hmm. I was at K-Wave, and it was in San Clemente at the time. Now it's a religious station, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
But at the time, it was not really rock. It was more middle of the road, as we used to call it. Mm. And it was actually automated assist. Everything was on an automation system with great big reels of quarter-inch tape. Mm-hmm. And all the just about everything was on what we used to call carts, which, for those of you who remember, were like 4-track tapes, 8-track tapes, things like that.
Yeah.
And we could program so that we could stop the equipment and do, some live stuff, and then hit the button and the equipment starts up again. It was good. I lived in San Clemente at the time. I could walk to work. And I started off actually nights.
Mm-hmm.
And the general manager told me, he said, this is overnight. This is, we're quieter, we're, soothing. And I looked at him and said, what difference does it make what day part it is? And that's the way I always worked. It was, and they moved me to morning drive. But I mean, it's like, what difference does it make what time of the day or night it is? We're still entertaining people. You think some guy in a forklift with his, headphones on wants me to tell him how, soft and how he should go to sleep?
You might put him to sleep if you're too mellow.
I liked working there. I worked there for a couple of years, and I had just gotten back from Texas. I worked in Texas for a couple of years, and I just gotten back from Texas, and got hired on there, and I enjoyed the people. I really had a good time, and the format. Like I say, it was more middle of the road. It was done well. One of the owner's daughter was our program director, and she had a good ear for music. I really liked it.
Awesome. Well, tell us about your time in Texas. Were you an engineer, radio personality, a little bit of both?
No, I was radio personality.
Which stations were you on there?
That's what we used. At least that's what we called each other. I worked at an FM station when I first got there. I can't remember the frequency or call letters anymore. Mm-hmm. And then worked there for about 8 months and was hired on at an AM station to work afternoon drive there, which was a complete change because the FM was laid back, was almost like a KMPC on the FM. And when I moved over to the AM station, it was more of a KHJ type, top 40.
Wow.
And I had a great time. It was local radio, and of course, back then everybody wanted to stay in LA, but you had to move around to get your chops, as they call it. And I'm going to say right now that I miss local radio because it was local. It was small town. It was, you dealt with the people that you were broadcasting to. You weren't broadcasting to everybody in the universe. You were broadcasting to this particular area. Mm-hmm. And once you figured that out, it was great. It was one of the best times that I can remember in radio, especially when I moved from the FM over to the AM. And I had to change my name. I was Mike Edwards there.
Wow.
And the reason it's Mike Edwards is because 2 first names always sound good on the radio.
Never thought about that.
Yeah. And I was doing remotes. I loved remotes. I could go out and do comedy and give things away and make fun of stuff. And I was at one point doing remote broadcasts at least once a week. And we'd have giveaway stuff. We'd have, at that time, Coca-Cola would come out and put a machine in so people get free Coke or whatever. We were giving away tickets to places. We were doing, all that stuff. And promoting, sale of a furniture store. The best one was a lingerie shop. But that was fun. And then I moved on to a very, very small market in Texas, where it was pretty much a 500-watt daytimer, as I used to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing afternoon drive there, and that's the 3 to 7 shift or whatever at the time. And I did a couple of remotes. I did one remote where we were trying to sell a house, but this house was a dilapidated nothing.
Mm.
It was a cabin with no walls.
Oh, wow.
I had to make up stuff like, oh, look, there's a porcelain claw tub. Now, nobody in their right mind would get in this damn thing. The fixtures on the sink, they were brass. Well, yeah, but they were green. And I think we sold it. We had Tradio. That's where for an hour we had people call in with stuff they wanted to get rid of, and we hook them up with somebody. When we did news, the obituaries were important.
Wow.
And the funniest thing, this town was so small. Go ahead.
How small was it?
Yeah. When a siren went off, we had a sponsorship. Something's happening right now. We don't know what it is. We don't know where it is. Brought to you by Farmers Insurance. It was crazy, but it was fun. It was, you had time. You weren't as restricted, it was. I sometimes ask myself, how come I can't go back? Well, nothing's ever the same anyway. But
oh yeah,
we had a good time. Kind of like when me and Kevin worked together.
I know. I miss those days. Just Kevin interrupting, quote unquote, your newscast, just chime in on the story.
Are you kidding?
And me interrupting with my trash songs from Oscar the Grouch to Fresh Garbage by Spirit.
Okay. When he was talking about a lactate class up at the Water District, I'm saying, how do I join that one?
I've forgotten about that one.
Yeah.
Or them putting
sign me up,
or putting flyers on students' cars in high school on how to smoke marijuana legally. I'm like, what? Well, that's Parsley. Wow, Parsley. It just sprung about itself. It'll be a crime for the cell to be this good. In most states, it is.
Oh no, those days were fun over there at KRLA.
Oh man. Good times, folks. We've been talking to Ed Mackay, and this is the Talking Archive. My name is Josh Jacobs. Anything you want to end the show with, or any final thoughts, or
I have been very, very lucky and blessed. I have been able to do many, many things that I never expected to do, but always wanted to do. From building a radio station in high school to getting into radio, to being an audio engineer. I started that in high school as well. To be part of the '84 Olympics. I worked for the Mexican feed as an audio engineer, to meeting people, celebrities, sports celebrities, stars. My son at one point helped me in San Diego when the Padres, we worked for the Padres. He actually got to sit in the Padres dugout. He had Tony Gwynn's home number when he was in high school. I got to meet people. I got to enjoy their company. There weren't always ups. There were some downs. But I am, like I say, just so happy, so blessed with what I was able to do, and I don't miss it. I'm retired now. I don't really miss it, but it is really something that I look back on.
Wow. Ed, thanks for interviewing with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Josh. Take care, my friend.